Hello again, my name is Anya, and today I continue talking about the Vril energy. This is part 3, and I'm still scratching on the surface, and I think I will be doing that for a long time, because I don't think there is really a chance to get to the core of it. So, what I'm talking about is mostly the information that I receive from myself during trance meditations, and partially of what I research or informations about the organizations behind it, using it, that of course I researched and that I sync with. So yeah, so here are my infos. So using the real energy is mostly the knowledge on how to harness these energy and use it to transform ourselves and our lives and the world around us. So I got into that a bit more in my 2 other episodes. So Nikola Tesla also, I mean, we all know who he is, and if you don't know who he is, then turn off now. Like, really, not to sound arrogant, but then this will not be of any interest for you. So as we know, Nikola Tesla, he worked on the means to harness the real energy, the free energy, and it can be used to provide an endless source of free energy for all our needs, right? It is also the same energy that we call Tao, or also the Qi. And again, I mentioned that before, because Tao means literally like everything that is and what is not, or the Qi is the universal life energy, right? But there is no exact translation as far as I know, so I don't want to say anything wrong. So, and this energy contains air, breath, wind, fire, the life force, and the life energy. So Vril is constantly on the move and so fluent, and it brings change. And any slowing down or stagnation of flows, they lead to disruption of life processes. So if, for example, you have pain that disappears due to movement or massages of the affected area, this is due to an energy gem at the respective location. So the pain will disappear when the energy flows again. And as I mentioned before, we harness that Vril energy, right? So, and this goes hand in hand. And Vril, by the way, comes from virilis and means powerful. Virilis, of course, is Latin. And as we know, a lot of words, a lot of texts were written in Latin. And even still in some magical scripts, spells are used in Latin. And there's something with it that makes words very powerful, very much. And this is also with the words we are using. I mean, all of our language, the mother language is Latin. So this is why we also have to be careful what we say and how we say certain things. But that's a different subject. So if we use the Vril correctly, we are able to develop the power of our minds and open what we all know as the third eye. It is a connection to the source, so the energy. And you can see it also, like I do, as the Bifrost or Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge. Everybody that knows me knows I'm into the North or Nordic traditions. So the bridge that connects Midgard, which is our earth, with Asgard's, the gods, so the source, where we all come from. So this is a connection with it. And this helps us to connect with the source, right? So I mean, you can also see Bifrost as a portal to all the other realms. And what I mean by that is that we awaken this energy, the God source within us. So once we have the connection, we can transform the world around us. But for this we have to die. But what I mean by that is we have to die inside. So what I mean by that is letting go of all the programming and the pain and the fear and everything that holds us back so we can rise again. For example, like Balder. I talked about Balder the Shining and Fair God before. So Odin sacrificed his most beloved son so that the gods, us, I mean by that, will return one day and lead us. So this would be us, the awakened, fighting, helping, skywatching, healing, teaching, and so on. So Balder was sacrificed and he died and went to the underworld to stay with Hel. But by this is how he survived Ragnarok, because after he will return and bring beauty and sunshine to the world. This means we have to die and rise again. This is all what it means, okay? The symbolic behind it. And then only then we have the strength. So it's nothing but a state of being. Same as the golden age, the end of times. What it means is it lives within us and it's not a state. So so what Balder is, he is the pure light and the destroying side of the element of the fire against his enemies. Same as Thor. Thor is a powerful masculine force that is filled with a fierce power and has the ability to project this power to tame the forces of chaos. And we are all connected by Vril, and we are not alone in this battle. So I hope you get my point with that. So once the state of being has been achieved, the gods, the source, this real energy that lives within us has been awakened. So, and this allows us to align ourselves with them, drawing on their power. So, like drawing that energy more and more. And this is what it's meant by Balder rising. It is the awakening of the universe within us. And once one has reached a certain level of mastery of it, you can harness the Vril and use it to transform oneself and the environment, as well as using it to control one's destiny, right? So, and this is why we have all these corporations and cults and so on doing what they do. So I will get to them in a bit. So what it does, it will encourage you to seek the truth, because our life is a never-ending quest to learn and discover. So, and here we have the religions coming into the picture, right? So, because there is always a tyrannical God, in my opinion. It's my opinion. So, in the Bible, for example, they speak of Adam and Eve, and they are warned not to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge, the tree of life, Yggdrasil, that connects every realm. So the church or other religions, they make it look so bad so we don't learn and awaken that is sleeping inside us. So in meantime, they're playing with the weather too. They hide the sun from us. So, and they have the technology coming from Vril. And I will explain this as well later. So, but I just wanted to throw that in quick because, you know, I always go from A to Z. So, I hope you can follow me so far. And when I speak of religion and church, again, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Okay, it's not about your belief in God and the source. It's about the church, which is an organization for me. My personal opinion. But this has nothing to do with your opinion or what keeps you going, right? So, what is happening in our world now can no longer be mastered by lifeless forces. And for the great evil existing these days in the world, the tremendous misery expressed with such terrible violence in what is called the social question can no longer be mastered with a non-living. Okay, our zombie age. So, and this requires the real energy, which for me personally is the holy grail, which occurs again and again in legends and fairy tales. This is not a goblet or magic drink or whatever. For me, it is the real energy. I mean, look at the Masons and the Templars. They came up with this nice fairy tale. Nice cover-up, right? Maybe even little hidden codes between them. So distracting, causing wars over it, people killing each other over it. It was not gold. It was not a drink of life. But again, my opinion. So meantimes, while there have been wars for it, people looking the wrong direction, right? It was right in front of them, actually. Well, not in front of them, actually inside of them. So we have to become aware of this power again and use it for the good. I mean, the Masons, etc. do it, right? Not for the good, though. However, that is more of an untearing force, because they destroy and don't create. So they create chaos, but that's about it. So, and therefore it becomes a lifeless force, because you cannot only create chaos and at one point it will balance itself out. That's what happened with what we call the Atlanteans, and I mentioned that before. I mean, I'm sure there was another earthly looking planet, and they were living in tune with nature, in tune with the weather, and were able to, you know, use it and get out of it what they needed for the good. And therefore I'm pretty convinced, and this is what I get and see, is that Atlantis was a planet and not here on Earth. But again, this is my opinion. This is nothing I researched. This is just what I feel for me. So, I mean, you can take that information. Maybe it helps you to start thinking about it. This is, yeah. And I've always also been thinking, I mean, we don't know, like I said, what's out there. I mean, NASA is not showing us shit, right? So, I mean, I'm very convinced we are not by ourselves, and so maybe, you know, there have been others misusing it, and maybe some escaped, and here we are, fucking it up again. So maybe we got this planet to get a chance to start all over again, to, okay, here we go again, do it again, and here we go again. You have again the greedy people, we have again people that do not give a shit about the planet, and about other people. And yeah, so I'm thinking maybe, you know, some of them came, and then of course some of the others came that caused the destruction of the other, I call it Atlantis for now. Yeah, and they came with us here, and yeah, and here we go again. But again, those are thoughts I have in my mind lately. I have so much more, and I always have to have my phone with me and speak voice clips because I forget half of it. And I really wanted to listen to my voice clips before I recorded it, but I didn't, because I'm gonna be all over the place. So I saved that for next time. I don't even know what I spoke. That's my point. I forget because I have so many thoughts going on lately, and I have been doing a lot of releasing myself, which I was ready to smack my head against the wall, but it's good now. So it's painful, but it feels good after. So yeah, so, and also I want to mention that Baldur is not the devil either, so fuck that shit, because yeah, it gets misexplained, of course. So Baldur has no horns, and he's not the devil either. So, but I know that gets ripped apart by the church too, right? And so therefore they don't want us to become who we are. That's what it is. Not to become we are who we are, but to remember again who we are. So, but I could keep going and going, so I better get going here. So, since we know the whole planet is ruled by psychopaths, you know, that are aware of the real energy, I really don't even know where to start. So I will just start with what we all know about chemtrails. And I'm not a specialist either, okay? And maybe you heard about things I talked about already. Maybe you know more than I do about what I'm talking now. So I'm just gonna start sharing what I have here. So we don't know who stands behind of all of the thousands of planes in the sky, you know, which spray megatons of toxic waste over us in our biosphere. I mean, we do know it's happening. Jet aircrafts, passenger aircrafts, you know, they're flying visibly. They're not even hiding it anymore. So they're flying from horizon to horizon and extending over hours, you know, and it's obviously particulate matter. So, I mean, we regularly see these things in all the industrialized countries of the world. So, and many test results shown, right? The concentration of various toxins, including aluminum, barium, strontium. So I don't even have to get into that. We know about this by now, and we should know about it. So, like carrier scientists from the Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. Forest Service, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and as well as a retired Major General of the U.S. Air Force, they have all blown the whistle. So a world-renowned PhD student, and he confirmed in many published peer-reviewed journal articles and has confirmed that the sprayed substance is coal fly ash, a toxic waste. So, and none of this hard scientific evidence can be refuted. Like, it can't be anymore. It's not happening. So, the motives behind it, right? There are enough of them. So, number one, it's the control over the weather. That's number one. Because the control over the weather is a godlike power and has many, many military and financial market applications, right? Just some of them. Besides the reasons why they're covering the sun. So, and we known as like the weather, the global weather modification. It's not a secret either. It's known as the New Manhattan Project. But I really have to ask you to do a little more research on your own, because this can go on for hours. And I don't have the time to explain all of the details. So, but at one point it was even called appropriate. So, which, who the hell would call this appropriate? So here's just an example. So in terms of day-to-day work, like the most likely culprits are the Air Force, the Navy, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, the Meter Corporation, Raytheon, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, and the National Aeronautic and Space Administration, National Center for Atmospheric Research, Lawrence Livermore, National Labs, Department of Energy, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and others. Like, the list goes on. So, and also this project has only been fully operational in the country for a little more than 20 years. It has been developed since the mid-1940s. So who and what has confused, maintained, and organized this project behind the scenes throughout this time? Who is sitting on that? The deep state. And the deep state refers to a parallel secret government organized by the intelligence and security apparatus, funded by drugs, engaged in illegal violence to protect the status and interests of the military from threats by intellectuals, religious groups, and of course, government protection, right? But we still are not at the core of who is behind it. And what does that have to do with the Vril, you will ask me? So today's New Manhattan Project, the chemtrails, that's what it is, involves the electromagnetic manipulation of atmospheric particles. So, and a company called Dresser Industries has been a leader in this field for a long time. Its history dates back to the late 1800s and has long been a pioneer in this field. So not only that, but Dresser Industries has a history of working closely with the organizations working with this Manhattan Project. But to put some sprinkles on top, it's a matter of the BUSH family with the connection to the NAZIS. I'm afraid to spell it out here on that channel. So, yeah, but it's right. And we know who was all into the Vril, yeah? So, but not only the NAZIS. Dresser Industries, for example. So, and the story of the manipulation of atmospheric particles with electricity goes back to the corona of the Queen and the geophysics William Gilbert. So, and in 1600, he discovered that as atmospheric particles were generally attracted to electrons. And this was a documented discovery of the so-called electrical precipitation. And the history of this field is the story of the Dresser Industries and its environmental system divisions. At the end of the 1900s, the commercial opportunities for the work of the Sir Oliver Lodge arose. And we're talking 1800, 1900. So Lodge used electrical precipitation for the recovery of valuable substances that had been burned by then. Prior to the invention of Lodge, significant amounts of valuable materials such as potassium, lead, tin, and gold were lost during industrial processes. If the process involves the vapor that emanate from the substance, then Lodge, he invented ways to position electrically charged wires that attract vaporized substances while purifying the air. So that was their victory, right? So industrial producers have gained considerable quantities of material, and the workers and the public have enjoyed clean air. So in order to market their processes, Lodge founded their company called Lodge Fume Deposit Company. Lodge founded another company called Agriculture Electric Discharge Company. Here, in the Lodgeden area, applied electrical precipitation to agriculture and atmospheric science. He discovered that electrical precipitation can be used to eliminate low levels of fog and smoke that can affect plant growth. So, and this phenomenon is well documented in the historical literature on climate change. So, and regardless, he noted that the distance between electrical charged wires in a field can increase agriculture production by nearly 50%. So, I personally think it's all a bunch of shit. I mean, trying to, make it sound like they're doing something good with it. So, and this is what I mean, it's, or they started doing something good. And this is again what I mean with brainwashing. Right? I mean, plants, trees were always growing with fog. And come on now. So, let's pretend he had good intentions. Let's pretend that for a while here. But we all know it went south in the first place. So, and the electrostatic manipulation of flying ash from the air has a long and well-documented history. So, and in 1972, Dresser Industries acquired Lodge Cottrell and became a division of Dresser, known as Environmental Systems. So, I could go on in a list. I just do a bit here because I want to get just into some other companies, and then I'm gonna stop that because it's just stunning. So the Dresser division, also known as Dresser Electronics, also worked in the New Mexico White Sands Missile Range, and the site of the world's first atomic bomb blast and the original headquarters of the most significant group of former NAZI scientists working with General Electric. So, and here I want to get into General Electric. So, many of Dresser's top manager came from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and an institution that has only the most important implications for that chemtrail project. So, something called the LTV Tower And it's located near the huge Dresser building in downtown Houston and was purchased by Dresser in 1975. So, this I found interesting. LTV stands for Link Temco Ford. Around 1970, Link Temco Ford founded a unit known as LTV Electrosystems. So LTV Electrosystems has long played a key role in the development of the New Manhattan Project on the board of directors. A man named William Raborn. So, and Raborn is well known to the reader of this project. LTV Electrosystems continued to become E-Systems. E-Systems built the first version of the world's most powerful and versatile ionospheric heater, HARP, the Radio Frequency Activity Aurora Research Project. Right? I know. So, an extensive network of the ionospheric heaters, so including HARP, right, is used today to influence the climate of the New Manhattan Project. I just call it chemtrails, okay? I cannot even call it like that. So I just found it interesting for me because a while back when Fukushima blew off, I took a closer look at Temco and General Electric. I looked behind who built that. So, and got to the core of what was going on. So Temco and General Electric, they're both responsible for the drama. So both of them knew about the crack in the reactor before the tsunami happened. But Temco said, oh no, we got the wrong building plans, both wrong blueprint, and General Electric, no, you built it incorrect. I don't believe that anyways, but that's another subject. But I just find it interesting how no matter where you research, how deep you go, you will always meet those names on those companies again and again. So and that's why I'm talking about it, because they're all using that technology and they're all together in this. No matter if they say, oh no, we're doing better, or no, we don't mean harm, we just want to influence the weather so the farmers can grow better crops. Bullshit. So I need to shorten this up. But like I said, this gives you maybe an idea of what is going on and how they use the Vril for what on a technology level. And as I said before, I'm sure Atlantis was a planet similar to ours and fucked it up. So, and it's about to happen again, and it's always about power and control. So, yeah, what else do I have? Oh yeah, in 1928, by the way, the BUSH Bank bought the Dresser Company. And yeah. But I don't want to go deeper. So I need to keep my channel for other purposes. And this goes too far away from my real energy. So, like I said, this might give you an idea, and I don't need to mention Tesla at all, who did all his work and research, and we know what happened to him and his paperwork, right? So, paperwork gone, Tesla gone. So, but yet still, we don't know the real people behind the scenes. It's not them. Those are just the ones I mentioned. They're just characters themselves. They're all characters. So, and I want to go as far as I mentioned before, that those people behind the scenery that we never get to see are the same that caused the planet of Atlantis to die. And that they are here now. I mean, I don't know, call them Anunnaki or whatever, I don't know, but this is just what I feel and what I see, okay? So that just was one part of it. And like I said, it spread so far because it's all connected, and I do my own research before I bring that on. So I just don't read and spread it on. I do my research. So this is all that I can give you for now. And next time I will go more into the secret society and how they use the Vril energy, because that leads us back to the same way I just talked about, just on a different level. So bear with me. Yeah, and I just wanted to talk about it so you get an idea of the big picture, and that we are able to do something, and how it affects us in the here and now and in the spiritual and physical world. I mean, think about it. I mean, they created this reality, our reality here, I believe. The Matrix, what we call it. And they created that for their purposes, for their chaos. And what I'm saying is we can change it as well. We can get out of this. We can change it and use it with this energy. And can only be done by very hard work, by, listening to yourself, getting connected. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's a lot of work. But once we realize it and we are aware and feel that more and more, then we are able to get out of this cube that they created. And I hope you understand what I mean by that. And that's why it's so important to connect with minded people, to create a network with all the people that bear the same interest. Yeah, and as always, I have the rune to go with Vril, right? Because that's how I use the runes. So, and this rune came to me with this subject I talked about. So Ansuz is the rune of speech, communication, knowledge, and how can I say it? The release of mental fetters through an ecstatic state. Ansuz stands for the great mystery, and it is linked to the gods, to the source. Okay, it is the rune of wisdom, respect, and knowledge that will await you if you open yourself. And Ansuz encourages you to listen and to interpret the message in your life. And Ansuz asks you to ask questions because the answers are already waiting for you. Do you understand what I mean by that? And this is what I said in the beginning. There is constant movement. We always have to keep moving. We have to ask questions. We have to. So, and also it helps us to find the right words and not to sound it the wrong way or use the wrong words in a wrong way, or helps us to be careful with our words. That's how I could say it too. So yeah, so as I said, this was my part 3 of the Vril. I hope you enjoyed it and can do something with the informations. And try to stay in touch with the other mind-like people, and also make sure you connect with honest people, because there are a lot of people out that try to influence with false information, and or mostly just want to be important and not really have in mind to really help. I'm sorry, but I have to say that. So just make sure, that the informations you get sync with what you have in you. And I'm sure together we can make the change. And if you have any questions, shoot me an email, leave me a comment. I would really appreciate it. If you have any input, I would appreciate it too. And other than that, I will be back next week with my smudging series. So I'm going back and forth and left and right. So I'm trying to do as much as I can. And also, I leave a link of a new website. It's a crystal network. So if you want to connect with mind-like people, or you're looking for help and information, please take a look. Yeah, like it's our network, so that we can hook up better to everyone. I mean, we might as well use the internet for good purpose, right? So, yeah, take a look. I mean, most of you heard about it already from Karen. And yeah, I will see you all next week. You have a good day and a good night wherever you are. Love you. Bye.